Hi, everyone. I'm Christy Forsyth, spiritual life coach. This is your weekly reading where we talk all about what's happening in the collective energy, the cosmos, whatever you want to call that, the energy that's impacting each and every one of us, and how we can master the week by understanding what's going on and how we can use it to our benefit and the pitfalls that we may want to avoid as we're navigating the week. I do these every week. I will start with the messages that I have connected with intuitively for the week. I will talk about what I'm feeling in the energy. I would love to hear from all of you what you're feeling in the energy. You guys are part of this too, and I love to hear what's going on and how you're experiencing these energies. And then we are going to dive in even deeper with a tarot reading to build upon the messages to make sure that we have everything covered. So make sure that you stick around to the end. We're going to cover everything, and it's going to be a really comprehensive reading to help you to understand what you need to know. So make sure you stick around. How are you doing? How are you feeling? I always love to hear from you guys. Say hello if you're watching. Even if you're watching on the replay, it's always nice to hear from you guys. I want to start this off a little bit differently. I want to invite you to claim this energy that we have happening. We are in a place where I feel like we're going to have a lot of green light moments that are going to be popping off this week, next week too. And so what does that mean? What does a green light moment mean? What that means, I base that off of not only just thinking about being given a green light for something and the ability for something to move forward, but I also think about one of my favorite books that I've ever read. If you have not read this, especially listen to the audio book of this, you're going to want to. It's Matthew McConaughey's book, Green Lights. Such a powerful book. And he really bases his whole life on paying attention to these green lights. And I think that this is a really nice representation of flow, leaning into the flow, paying attention to where the energy is flowing, paying attention to where we are being led and what is happening naturally, what feels good for us. So I think that we're going to be having a lot of green light moments, and I want to invite you guys right now, as we're getting started with this video, to claim it. So I want you to write something in the comments like green lights, or hit me with a little traffic light emoji or a little green heart in the comments, whatever you want to do, or just say I'm claiming it. So however you want to do that, but claim it, because the energy is starting to move forward more and more. And we're going to talk about that. I think that there's a lot of openings that we're going to see happening that are developing for us, a lot of opportunities that are coming in, a lot of stagnant energy that's moving forward. We're being invited to level up in some way or to take things to the next level in some way through these green light situations that we have happening. Let's start a little bit with what's going on in the astrology. So today I am filming this on, what is today's date? The 18th. I'm filming this on Tuesday, the 18th of February. So officially today we are now in Pisces season. I love Pisces season. Some people have a harder time with it because it can tend to be a time where we do feel more in our feelings, more connected to our feelings, more emotional sometimes. Although what I love about Pisces energy is that we also find ourselves feeling so intuitive, so connected to our intuition. And our intuition is going to help us to understand what we need to understand. It's going to help us to feel connected to ourselves. It's going to help us to know what we need to do and to know what steps we need to take. And we always have access to that. But Pisces season helps us to feel more connected to that. And so pay attention to what's coming through, what you're feeling, what you're noticing, how you're feeling guided. All of this is going to be important. Another thing that I love about Pisces season is that it really supports us in dreaming bigger. So you might find that you start to have these bigger dreams, these visions of where you want things to go. Pay attention to where your daydreams are taking you, and pay attention to what's happening in your dreams at night. Because we're going to be more tapped in. I find that during Pisces season, we tend to get a lot of intuitive dreams, predictive dreams that are helping us to understand, or dreams where we're connected to crossed loved ones. We're spending time with crossed loved ones and we're remembering that, or even these symbolic dreams that are showing us what we're working through or what we need to know or we need to understand. So pay attention to your dreams and pay attention to where your daydreams are taking you. It's showing you what you want. It's showing you where you want things to go. And I think that Pisces season is a really beautiful opportunity for us to get a little bit dreamy and to start to build those castles in the clouds so that we can begin, when this energy really starts to move forward in March, to bring them down to earth and to start building them. To take those plans that we're developing now and to start to create a structure to them and to take action toward them. After Pisces season, we move into Aries season, and Aries season to me is such a time of action. So that's going to be a really powerful shift. I also want to acknowledge in the astrology that on the 23rd, so in this week, I believe is that Monday? Mars will finally be coming out of retrograde. That is going to be a very nice thing. I believe that it went into retrograde, was it the beginning of December? May have been November, but I believe it was the beginning of December. This is like all of that energy that you've been feeling where you're kind of antsy. I've been kind of twitchy and antsy, and just there's this overall feeling of being on edge, even if I don't understand why I feel on edge. And sometimes when Mars is in retrograde, I notice myself feeling that way. Or you may have found that you're more easily triggered or more easily aggressive, and that you have definitely felt slowed down and a decrease in energy. So what we have happening on the 23rd on Monday is that Mars will station and go direct. And what that means is this energy is going to start to release. You're going to find that you have a little bit more or a lot more of a momentum, that you are feeling more energized, that you feel like you want to start to take action toward things again. You're going to feel like there's actual forward movement, and the things that have felt stagnant are going to start to move forward. Now, here's a caveat. Mars goes retrograde, and then we have Venus, or Mars goes direct, and then we have Venus going retrograde on March 1st. So what this means is that we have a 6-day window where we have 0 planets in retrograde. We have not had this in a while. It's been quite some time. So we have been slowed down by all of these planets in retrograde and have felt that disconnection from the momentum, from progress, from forward movement in a lot of ways. We've had little things that have slipped through for sure, but we're really going to start to feel it. So we have this window. So I want you to use this window to take action where you're feeling called to take action. We're going to talk more about this next week because that's going to definitely play more of a part in next week's reading. But I want you to think about that. And you might already start to feel this letting up a bit, but don't let it get you. This last little bit of Mars retrograde may result in you feeling more easily triggered, more easily annoyed. Just still be mindful of how you're responding to things, making sure that you're taking a pause if you need to, that you're not responding from a place of strictly emotion and you're not letting your emotions run away with you, especially now that we've shifted into this emotional Pisces energy. So just keep all of that in mind. So that's definitely part of this energy of experiencing these green lights. I think we're going to start to see it this week and definitely next week, where we notice, okay, some things are moving forward. We're getting invitations for some things. We're getting some concrete evidence that some things are starting to happen for us, are starting to move forward in some way. But there is a caveat with all of this as well. I feel very strongly that as these green lights are happening, that we may find that our stuff is coming up and getting in the way. It may be that our stuff is coming up where we feel very afraid to move forward in some way. So my hope for all of us this week is that we can connect with our courage and that we can challenge ourselves even if we feel afraid, because I don't think that things are going to be moving forward for us without fear. I just don't. I think that it's going to be us taking a look at ourselves and being willing to challenge ourselves and to talk back to ourselves, because I just get this energy of us trying to talk ourselves out of things or trying to avoid things that are actually really beautiful opportunities, but we feel afraid, so we try to avoid them or we try to sabotage them in some way. So be really mindful about not allowing fear to hold you back and being willing to feel the fear and do it anyway in some way. Now, this is not for everything, but these are for those things that we know on a deep soul level that we are meant to be moving forward with, that we are getting a green light with. I have felt this energy. I've been talking about this for a little while, where it feels like this fear of some things being too good to be true, or this fear of, is this just going to end up being the same thing that I experienced in the past? So a fear of something difficult in the past repeating in our lives, and this desire to protect ourselves in some way. And this is really inviting you in this energy lately to be open and be vulnerable and be willing to trust in the idea that the universe has our back, that God is looking out for us, and that things can be better, that we can have positive experiences, that we can level up, that we can have opportunities come in that work out, that things can work out, that things can be amazing, that things can be easy, that things can be lighter. And I think that on some levels, we've been afraid to believe in that. So I think part of the challenging the fear this week is going to be in the believing that things can be really, really good. But we have to be willing to allow it. We have to work with these green lights as they're coming in. Now, I want you to think about, as you're going through this, am I taking a detour in some way? Energetically, or through my actions, am I taking a detour in some way? Am I shutting down this energy of something that wants to move forward in my life? Remember, we've been talking for a while about the fact that we are in an entirely new era, and I feel that the energy starts to really move forward this week. And so it's this invitation to step into change, to step into better if we choose it, to be willing to move and to let the energy move us, put us where we're supposed to be, to connect with who we're supposed to connect with, to experience what we're supposed to experience. But we have to be willing. I want you to pay attention this week, always, but especially this week, to how is God, how is the universe showing you that you are truly supported? Pay attention to the signs. Let me know in comments what signs you guys are getting this week. I would love to hear what's showing up for you now. What repeating numbers, we call those angel numbers. What conversations are you overhearing that stand out to you? What feels like a sign for you? Let me know. But pay attention to all of this stuff, because there's so much magic that's happening in the world around us, but so often we forget to pay attention. This is God letting us know, I've got you. I'm taking care of you. Things are happening. Things are developing. So I want you to pay attention to that. And by the way, a sign, and this is coming through loud and clear for me right now, can be as simple as a feeling. It can be a knowing, a sense, just this calm that washes over you, where you know that you are good, that you are moving in the right direction. I want you to also pay attention to, where do things feel bad? Where do things feel ick? Where does it feel like, oh, this is a heavy weight that is weighing me down that I don't need in my life anymore? Because some of the green lights are going to be invitations to close a door. to close the door and be willing to move forward with our lives in a way that's very different from how we've been living. So some of that strength and that courage is going to be important. Now, I also feel like these green lights are us being willing this week as we feel inspired. Now, that's the important piece. We don't want to force anything. Green lights are not about forcing. You can't turn a light green until it's ready to be turned green. But when that light turns green, it's time to go. It's time to act to claim your blessings. It's time to let yourself be inspired to act in some way, to move forward in some way. So pay attention to how you feel inspired. If you are tuning in, you're going to feel it. You're going to notice it. You're going to get that sense. And it's not going to feel like fear. It's not going to feel like I'm anxious, so I'm doing something to try to quell my anxiety. That's not what this is about. This is, I just have this sense. I just have this feeling that I need to take action on this. And I feel like when that light turns green, you go. You charge it. You take over. You do what you need to do, because some of us have been sitting at a red light for a very long time. Don't hesitate. Act. Use this window that we have that is available to us, because I think that it's going to be really powerful. When I was connecting with this energy, I also got the sense, and this is so amazing. I feel, let me say this first. I feel like March is going to be all about us deciding what timeline we're shifting into. We've been choosing that. We've been deciding. Now, what the heck does that even mean? We're choosing what we want to experience here on Earth. There's all kinds of experiences that we can have. There are all kinds of levels of energy, of frequency that we can be operating on. And March feels to me like we're making big decisions for that, and we're shifting into those timelines. So if we are on a higher timeline, that equals better experiences. That equals all of the things that you probably want to manifest for your life. The things that you want to manifest for your life, especially the high level stuff, is going to exist on a higher timeline. Whereas the lower frequency, fear-based, heavy, really hard stuff is going to operate on a lower timeline. So ideally, we want to be on the highest timeline possible for ourselves. So we're going to be working on that in March, but I feel like right now what's happening is we're experiencing this merger of the higher self and the lower self. So the lower self is the human, is the person, is the ego that we are. And then the higher self is our soul, is our higher guidance. It's that guidance that is connected to a higher perspective for our lives, a better understanding and knowledge and wisdom as to what we came here for, what our highest timeline looks like, what the things that are best for us look like. And so it's that wisdom and that's that knowledge. And it's something that I feel like is coming in. So what that means is as the higher self and the lower self merge, we're going to find that we're having a better understanding of ourselves, of our paths, of what we're here to do. I think we're going to find ourselves feeling more connected to our wisdom, a better awareness of what's next for us, what we might expect, what we need to do. So again, take advantage of this. Let it guide you. Let it show you. Don't let that lower self talk you out of something that is coming from a place of fear. Instead, let that higher self show you what is available to you now. Again, because it gets to be good, it gets to be easy, it gets to be lighter, but we want to choose to allow that. So I think that that's really important. We don't want to let ourselves be derailed in this energy. So if you have something that is important, and you're taking action, you're taking steps on that, we want to continue to take the actions and be mindful as we're moving forward, especially as we're taking advantage of this window. Now, The key here with this is that we don't want to impress our will onto anyone else. We want to do this from a place of detachment. So if we're taking actions, the actions are for us. They're not about controlling anybody else. They're not about telling anyone else what to do or trying to influence anyone in their choices. We want to operate from that place of detachment. What's best for me? How do I feel called to move forward? And then we trust that our higher self, our higher power is going to lead us to where we need to be and going to create the circumstances that we need in order for that to happen. And that we're being led. So we also want to have this awareness that maybe the lower self, the ego, the human in us doesn't always know what's best. I think we're going to be much more aware of that here in this week, and the things that you were wishing for, you would get a green light on. You may find that you don't necessarily want that green light so much. And all of a sudden there's these other green lights that are happening. And it's like, whoa, I really love that. That's amazing. So be open to flow, be open to being led, be open to taking actions, even actions that you don't understand, but you're getting that inspiration to take action on those things. So again, I want to invite you guys, as I'm shuffling, claim it. Say green lights in comments. Hit me with the, first card out, the Empress. We'll talk about these. I'm going to pull them. I will show you them. The Hierophant. Oh, these are all next to each other and they all want to come out in the Magician. This is crazy magical energy this week. And we have 3 out of our 6 cards already out of the deck with that. So claim it. Hit me with a green lights in comments. Hit me with a traffic emoji if you prefer, or just say, I'm ready. Claim it. Claim what you want. The Knight of Cups. I believe that we had that last week. Claim it. Let me know. And say hello. I always love to hear from you guys. Holy wow. Temperance, another major arcana card. So we have 4 out of these 5 are major arcana cards. What you have to understand with the major arcana cards is that there's only 20 out of a 78. Holy cow. Another Wheel of Fortune. There's only 20 major arcana cards out of 78 cards in the tarot. So whenever we have those show up, especially heavily in a reading, it's a very destined time. These are significant life shifts. This is a powerful thing. So to have 5 out of 6 of these cards being that, this is a life-changing week. This is a life-changing time. I feel like this week, I feel like next week as well. So powerful. So pay attention to what is coming through for you. Be open to the blessings that are wanting to come into your experience, the Empress. Be open to it. Allow it. Let it come to you. Be magnetic. Nobody needs you to be thirsty and to try to force things. That isn't going to work for you anyway. Be magnetic. Let it flow into your experience. Notice what green lights are happening for you and go with the flow of that. Go with the flow of where you feel called to take action. But this is also about just knowing that you have laid down a solid foundation and you can trust for things to happen and come through for you. This is a very powerful card of abundance. It's a card of giving birth to your dreams, giving birth to something new. What are you feeling called to give birth to? What are you feeling called to get started with? Can you dream big? But also, I want to really highlight the fact that the Empress doesn't chase. She attracts. And this feels so important in this energy. If you are chasing something, if you are forcing something, knock it off. Because it's not going to happen for you in that way. We've been working on detachment. We've been working on disconnecting and letting people do what they want to do, letting circumstances unravel the way that they need to unravel, letting them happen the way that they need to happen, and then figuring out, does this align with where I'm at? We don't need to force anything. Pat says, I'm ready. Green light. Yeah, wow. Definitely wow. It's a wow kind of a week. I don't think that I've ever pulled this many major arcana cards in one reading. So pretty powerful stuff. The next one is the Hierophant. This to me is that confirmation of the merger of the higher and the lower self. You're just going to feel more intuitively connected. And by the way, this feels like a permanent adjustment. This is a massive shift for all of us because we are elevating. We are connecting on a deeper level with our intuition, not just for Pisces season, but for good. This is something that's really powerful that's happening. People are connecting with their gifts. People are connecting with themselves. People are understanding themselves better. They are tuning in with their purpose more. And this is all happening and unfolding now. How lucky are we? I say this all the time. What a time to be alive. Imagine how life would be different if you just simply chose to, no matter what is showing up, say that. What a time to be alive. In a way that's hopeful and excited. And from that place of wonder that we've been talking about, it's going to be a wonderful year if we're allowing it all to unfold as it wants to and needs to. And if we're approaching it from that place of, wow, what an amazing thing that I get to experience here on earth at this time. The Magician. We are also creators, powerful creators. What are you creating right now? What green lights do you want to create? Take some time to be intentional about that, to dream about it. This is such a dreamy energy. So take some time to just visualize it, imagine it, daydream about it, have conversations about it. Only with people that you feel are going to support the vision, because when you have conversations with people who are going to be threatened in some way or to bring negativity into it, you don't want to have those conversations with those people because that will shut the energy down. So maybe you don't have conversations unless it's somebody that you really trust. Bring that to your sessions with me. But this feels like green lights. This feels like doors opening. This feels like things happening for intentions that we've put out there in the past as well. It feels like things are happening. I feel like I need to remind you that you are infinite, that you are powerful, that you are so connected. And some of these green lights are to lean into that, to understand that there's so much happening in this world for you that if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss it. Leaning into the gifts, the natural intuitive gifts that you have. People miss so much that's going on, so much that's happening within themselves. And once we start to just honor it and trust it, because a lot of times the issue is not that we're not aware that we're intuitive, it's just a matter of not trusting ourselves. That's the biggest block to people's intuition that I find. So as you're more connected to your intuition, I want you to trust yourself. And I want you to trust yourself to create the kind of things that you're meant to have, that you're destined to have, and to be intentional about that. So we want to both be intentional. We want to put intentions out there. We want to tell the universe what we want. But we also want to get to a certain state of detachment where we say, that's going to happen for me in the way and the timing that it's meant to, or something better. If we can really get into this place of honoring that and trusting that and just being in flow, we're going to have a really fantastic week, month, life, year, whatever. Knight of Cups. Yeah, there's still this really romantic energy that's happening. This feels like taking things to the next level in some way. Now, Knight of Cups is the Knight of the Heart. So in a really obvious way, this might be about relationships in some way, a relationship in some way, taking that to the next level, having important conversations around relationships, connecting with someone on a deeper level. But this also can simply be something that we feel aligned with, something that we feel a heart connection with, that we decide to make a commitment to. That we decide, okay, this is time. It's time for me to lean into this. It's time for me to, well, take it to the next level. That's completely what this energy is giving. And this is a very romantic energy. It's a very beautiful energy. And I feel like it's okay to feel that way. It's okay to allow the blessings that want to come into our experience and to set the fear aside that I think is trying to protect us. But at the same time, allowing ourselves to be vulnerable and to receive and to connect is what we're here for. So let ourselves be in this place of receptivity. The Empress and the Magician are all about receptivity as well. I also feel like I need to say with a Magician that there's a level of readiness that we're at now. There's a level of mastery. I want to remind you, this is a 9-year in numerology. And that's about closing things out and ending cycles, but it's also about mastery. And some of us are in a place where we feel like we've mastered something. I've heard some incredible things that you guys have been doing this week. You've been very brave in the decisions that you're making and the changes that you're making, in your willingness to be vulnerable, to take a step forward. And that's going to pay off, but it's happening for you because you're ready. You've been working on yourself for a long time. I'm thinking of somebody, and I'm not going to say their name, but somebody last week who felt as though they had gone significantly backwards. And we're talking about that as I was talking about mastery. And over the course of this week, have realized what they needed to do and what change they needed to make. And through making that change, have actually completely mastered the lesson. So when we master a lesson, it doesn't mean that we are always in this amazing place, or we're feeling like we're thriving, or we feel like we're doing something incredible. Sometimes in order to master a lesson, we have to get tired of our own bullshit. We have to get tired of something that we have been allowing, putting up with, a pattern that we've been repeating. And we have to get to that place where we say, no more, enough is enough. By the way, to that person, I'm really proud of you. You know who you are. The next card that we have is the Temperance card. So we also want to make sure that we're finding some balance with some things, that we are honoring what it is that we need, that we are leaning into what's coming in, because a lot of times temperance is also about divine timing. And I think that there's a lot of divine timing that's happening here. I think that we'll see that a lot next week as well. So being willing, but notice the way that this person is dipping their toes in the water. And I'm very aware of this right here. Be willing to dip your toes into something. Test it out. Be willing to start to move forward. That feels important. And last card, be willing to master the lesson. We were just talking about lesson mastery. The Wheel of Fortune can be about that. It can be this decision that you make that changes the course of your entire life. It can be a decision to be open. It can be a decision to make a change. We're making important decisions here, but this is also about a shift in the energy, where maybe we've been feeling stuck. Maybe we've been feeling like something was moving in a bad direction, and all of a sudden it just takes a turn. We've been sitting at that red light for a very long time, and then all of a sudden that light turns green. And I think we're going to be thrown by that light turning green in some ways. Like, wait a minute, I've been sitting here for this long and now it's green. Can I trust it? Is the light really green? Is this going to be okay? And this is saying absolutely it is. It's just time. There is such a message about timing here, about things developing, about things happening, about the timing of things. So I want you to pay attention to all of it. Let me know what kind of magic is happening for you in the comments. I would love to hear. I always love to hear from you guys. If you're catching the replay on this, let me know. If you are needing some extra help on your journey, I have services available for that. Schedule a soul therapy session with me, which is an intuitively led life coaching session. Schedule a tarot reading with me. I do all of that in person, but I also do it all virtually. Or if you're looking for something that is just a tool that you can access 24 hours a day, whenever you want, that is an ever growing library of resources for you, of tools, of classes, of energy sessions, of meditations, of hypnosis sessions. My membership is absolutely the place to be for your spiritual and personal growth. So check that out as well. Let me know if you guys made it all the way to the end. And you can check out my membership. You can check out my services all at claritybychristy.com. I put that in the link below. And I will see you all soon with another video. Take care. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you stuck around to the end, I love to hear from you. I appreciate you all. I love you all. I'll see you soon. Bye.